Good day, scholars. Today we're going to be making a quick application this week. Today we're just going to be working on the user interface. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to MIT App Inventor, and I'm just gonna type it into Google just to give you guys an idea. I'm gonna type in MIT App Inventor. Just look for it here. So here you can see MIT App Inventor. Boom, click. All right, the link's also in the module. The first thing you got to click on to get to the place where we can actually make the apps is the Create Applications button up here. So let's click on that button real quick. And you'll have to log in through Google. It will take you to the last thing you were working on, which is most likely the basketball user interface. If not, it might take you to the main page here. What we're going to do is we're going to start a new project. So you can click on this button, or you can go to Project and start a new project as well. And I'm going to call my project text to speech. I meant text. Text to speech. You can call it whatever you want for now, but I'm just going to call my text to speech. No spaces. I'm calling it text to speech because we're going to be making an app that uses text to speech. Some of you guys might have made something like this in sixth grade, um, or even, well, yeah, some of you guys might have made this in sixth grade, but we're going to remake it just to give you guys a quick overview. So as you can see, this is MIT App Inventor. Let's go over the basic components again. On the left side here is the user interface stuff. This is called the palette. This is where you can find components that we're going to need for the actual application. And you'll get user interface. We got layouts here, media, etc. The middle screen here is the viewer. Right, you'll see this entire place right here is the viewer. This is what the app will look like to a certain degree, but on the actual phone, it will look different most of the time. On the right here, we have our components, which I will explain as we're going through this. And then finally, we have the properties of the component that you have selected. So right now, on the right side, we have properties here. These properties are for this screen that I have selected. Right, and today all we're going to do is the user interface. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a layout. So I'm going to go to layouts down here, and I'm going to open up that drawer. And I'm going to grab a table arrangement, and I'm going to click and drag it to the actual phone screen here. And you'll see it's just a box, all right? And you'll see it's under components. It's actually in screen one because I dragged it into the screen. And it's a table arrangement. And you'll see we have columns two columns, and 2 rows. All that means is that I have 2 columns in this box and 2 rows in this box. What that means is I can put 4 things into this. All right, and you'll see that in a second. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make sure I have table arrangement selected here. And I'm going to go to the properties of the table arrangement. And I'm going to make the height fill the parent. And I'm going to make the width fill the parent as well. All right, and that will, you'll see the box has grown to fit the actual screen. And what it means by fill parent is, by parent, all it means is whatever the component that you have selected, right? In this case, the table, is the parent of this table is screen 1 because it's inside this screen. That's all that means. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the user interface on the left, and I'm going to grab some buttons. So I'm going to click and grab a button here, and you'll see, right, I have multiple spaces here because I have 2 columns and 2 rows in that arrangement. So I'm just going to grab a second button, put it there, grab another button, put it there, and I'm going to grab a 4th button and put it there. So now you'll see I've got 4 buttons, okay? And from here, what I want is I want the buttons to fill the screen. I want one big button here. I want one big button over here. I want a big button here and another button here. So what I need to do is I need to click on these buttons to get to their properties, you'll see. And I got these 4 buttons. So button 1, it says button properties, button 1. That means I am changing the properties of that button. And you'll see that that button 1 is highlighted on our phone screen here. That means I got the correct one selected. And from here, I'm going to change the height and the width. And what I want is I want this button to fill up essentially 1/4 of this screen. Because I got 4 buttons, that means I want all of them to fill up about 25% of the actual screen, right? So for button 1, I want button 1 to fill up this section here. I want button 2, if I click on that one, to fill up this section. I want button 3 to fill up this bottom left section, and I want button 4 to fill up this bottom right section. To do that, I need to click on the buttons. So I got button 1 selected, button 1 properties. I'm going to go to button 1's properties height. and I'm going to make that a percentage of the entire screen's height. And what that means is this button's height is going to be sitting at 50% of the height of the phone. So as you'll see, right, now that button is taking up 50% of this phone's screen from top to bottom. Now let's change its width to 50%. Boom. And with that, I have 50% height, 50% width. It is now taking up 1/4 of the screen. And I'm going to do the same thing for each of these buttons. So I'm going to change the height of this one to 50% and the width of this one to 50%. Right, so I just changed button 2's height and width. Button 3, click on that. Height 50%, width 50%. Right, and now that takes up 25% of the screen. Same thing with button 4, height and width 50% each. Right, and now you can see with that height and width set for each of those buttons properties, it is taking each one is taking up 1/4 of the screen. Right, so this is 50% of the x-axis, right? So that's width, and this is 50% of the y-axis, which is height. All right. Now what I need to do is I want to make each of these buttons unique. All right. And for my example, I'm going to do robots. So I'm going to have a red robot, I'm going to have a blue robot, I'm going to have a green one, and I'm going to have a yellow one. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename these. So I'm going to rename button 1 red button. And notice that I am, one, not putting any spaces in there because this is a computer program and the spaces, it doesn't like spaces. And 2, I'm putting the name of the component after what I'm calling it. So this is going to be the blue button, right? That way, when I go to program it in the blocks editor, which you'll see later, I'll know what each of these buttons is supposed to do. I'm going to make this one a yellow button. I'm going to make this one a green button. All right. And what I could do is I could just click on this button and then change the background color of that button under the properties to that color, right? And I can get rid of the text. So if I go to the text down here in the bottom right, here, yes, I can get rid of that, and you'll see it gets rid of the text that's on that button. So I could do that, right? What I want to do instead is I want to put a picture in there. You'll see this image, there's no image in there. If I want this button to have a picture in it, and you can use whatever pictures you want as long as it makes sense, and as long as it's appropriate, but I'm just going to do colors. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to Google Images. So I open a new tab, and I'm going to go click on Google Images up here. All right, and I'm going to search for a red robot. All right, and I'm just going to find one. I'm going to click on this one. That one's dumb looking, right? So now I've got my image open. To save this, you should control click or right click on this image. Open image in a new tab. Okay. Now you won't, I'm not sure if you can see that, but I clicked on open image in a new tab, and then it opens a new tab, and I have this image here. To save this, I need to control click again and save image as. All right, and that will save it. That will give you a spot. It'll open up your file management system, and you can save it. And I'm going to name mine Red Robot just so I know what it is. And I hit save, and it saves it onto my file management system. On your Chromebook, it will look different. Okay, so once I go back to MIT App Inventor, I want to upload that picture to my red button. Okay, so I got red button here. I'm clicking on red button to have it highlighted. I go to the properties of the red button, and I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to upload a file. And from here, I can just click and drag this, right? No problem. You can choose file, and you might have to search for it as well. It's most likely in your downloads, right? But I have this selected here. I'm going to hit OK. It's uploading it, and it put it on the picture. Okay, and I uploaded that directly in the properties of that button. You could upload it to your media folder here. You'll see it's in my media folder down here, right? You could upload it here and then select it in the image here. But that's up to you on how you kind of want to do it. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find other images. Okay, so let's say this is my blue button. Maybe I'm going to go look for a blue robot. Blue robot. Right, maybe I want this one. Let's try this one out. So I'm going to control click on it or right click on it, open an image in a new tab. Within this new tab is open. Now I control or right click on it, save image as, and make sure it saves it either as a JPEG or a PNG. If it's saying HTML or anything else, it's not going to work and you need to find a different image. Okay. But now I have it here. I'm going to save it again. Go back to MIT App Inventor. All right, I have my blue button selected. Let me show you the other way. So let me upload it directly to my media folder here. So if I go to my media folder down here, I can upload it to the media folder as well. Click and drag it up here. Hit OK. And you'll see it's uploading it, and now it's in my media folder. You may have to rename some of the files depending on what they are named in when you download them. I suggest naming them as you download them, but if you don't, you may run into some problems. Now that it's in my media folder here, right, if I go back to make sure I have blue button selected, go back to the properties of the blue button, find image, and find the one I just uploaded and hit OK. Now I've got a blue button, right? And there's even text there. I can get rid of that text as long as I have the blue button selected and I go to its properties and I can get rid of the text. Okay. So I'm going to stop there. What I want you to do is I want you to find 4 images that you can put into your 4 buttons. All right. And that's all you've got to do. Make sure you upload them either to your media folder or directly to the button using the image. And, you hit OK and I'll upload and all that kind of stuff. If you're having trouble with it appearing, you can always mess with the height and width to try and get it to reset. You can disable and re-enable it sometimes, or make it visible and invisible. Sometimes that resets it if you're having trouble. But your task is to have your 4 buttons in a grid pattern like this, have them named something. It doesn't have to be red, blue, yellow, or green. It can be something other unique, and 4 unique pictures in each of their buttons. All right, so that is your assignment for today.